I looked for about 3 years, changed teachers, some clubs, tried to find the person who would suit me, which would give knowledge, because always it seems to me strange. Does the person give equipment, but can't explain what consequences from this the technique can be? It's important to me to understand that all this brings to, I hope, to positive result. And suddenly I watched Andrei Verba's lecture at YouTube, and it admired me so that the motivation rose in the same day. At intuitive level, I felt that it is a place where I want to be, the people from whom I want to get an experience, and these are people from whom I want to get this experience. I went to understand myself. The yoga is through an accompanying tool. If to look more deeply, I went to understand what exactly is necessary for me. Last time after the yoga camp, my consciousness was shared on before and after, and it was such feeling that in the yoga camp I lived 5 years per 3 months. The way always begins with clarification. I was injured in it last year. I tried to clear some rough cloud and some rough addictions. There was a liberated consciousness this year, and it allowed to develop motif, and to experience it with all my heart. The last 19 years I lived in Germany and haven't even been in Russia during this time. And for the first time I arrived to Russia in the yoga camp for this year. I told that I would do everything possible to get there once again. At first I began to practice yoga more or less seriously. There were certain difficulties in interaction with society and the set of questions. That's why I was eager to visit the yoga camp for the second time. In my opinion, it's rather complex system and very competent approach of work on. There are the full tools, because Guy's approach was from food and from yama niyama, its moral behavior, moral aspect, and also physical exercises, which allow to understand oneself and better to walk over myself at spiritual level, that's allowed to walk with intelligence better. Last year I simply went in for Hatha Yoga. I simply studied the body, feelings inside. I feel that the extension starts appearing, and this time I liked the meditation very much, and I began to enjoy too, and this year to me sounds more. I expected that I will simply live in a tent, there will be yoga, lectures, everything. In this tent here out that the whole day is occupied, loved it. I expected less, I received 10 times more. Because here one big family, here warmly, all relative souls, easily, cozy, comfortably, full immersion since morning and until late at night. Here you constantly lead this life. You wake up at 4:30 in the morning, you go for morning bathing, then meditation, then yoga. Is then a little bit time for a breakfast and then lectures, yoga. And you don't notice how evening came and it is time to sing the Om mantra. And in the same way next day and new impressions respectively. It broadens horizons, it expands consciousness, removes some shores, because we have no distraction moments, television, newspapers, news, internet, friends, or still something. I like to spend time in general outdoors very much, that's mine. I perfectly feel, and practice is organized here very good intensity. I don't know in what place I could get such experience. Always when you are at home, you urge on yourself, of course, but to rise up at 4 o'clock in the morning and to go to bath in the river, it hasn't taken part in my life. But now I understand that this experience is simply invaluable because I simply didn't even represent that I am capable in it. Teachers fantastically explain with a great competence. Everything is very clear. It's possible to ask some questions. I practice yoga not for a long time, only for months, but in 3 weeks which I spent here, it seems to me I advanced for some years. The practice goes in a different way here. Alone with the nature, everything turns out easier, as through some tension leaves mind. I teach in Stavropol and arrive here as a student to work with skilled teachers, to Andrei Verba in particular. It would be desirable to gather his some experience in Hatha Yoga. There is absolutely other power in the nature. There are a lot of friends, adherents. There was such energy of development which influenced you. I can tell my experience. When I went to seminar in Ekopоселение, I ate meat, but then I had thoughts of vegetarianism. I wanted to refuse meat, but I thought that people who is capable on have a very strong spirit. It seems to me that it is very difficult. I arrived on seminar only for 3 days, enjoying in this atmosphere. When I came back home, I rather easily refused meat. For me it was surprising. I spent in camp for about 2 months in dynamics. On arrival, I can tell, I was rather excited. Then, calmed down, tried different practices. There was opportunity to be injured in Tsigun, yoga, Hatha yoga and Ashtanga. Then recently left in retreat. I've spent 6 days in the retreat. The yoga camp gives the chance to feel in harmony with the nature, to calm down, glance in itself, to understand what do you want, what is really necessary in your life, and the expense of people due to occupations, at the expense of possibility of being alone, here all in total. You become quieter if you endure some crises. Any problems emerge, serious, internal, you understand that you are not sunny, not honey, and it is necessary to work specifically with yourself, to try to sweet, and the big plus, the tools for working with yourself are given. I wasn't injured in such capacity. I really never put so many physical efforts. I understood that asana are well taught here, can help you by moving gradually further. I wanted to sing Om mantra very much. I always thought that it is necessary to go to Tibet. Yes, I had such outlook that it is necessary to go to Tibet. And now I understand everything I need is near. Most of all, I liked practice of group singing of Om mantra, because you will never find in the urban environment, well, practically don't find group of 30 people. It besides interaction with the inner world, a response from within. Perhaps earlier in the previous embodiment a practice took place, and now it's well done. I liked practice of reading very much, when the teacher reads any text of Holy Writ and make comments, explain. When you read is one thing, and another when someone explains to you. It opens a new moment to which you wouldn't pay attention. In general, it's certainly a good practice to get up until a very early, an ablution. It directly lauds. It seems to me that I will want to sleep in the afternoon or in the evening, but it doesn't influence at all. Probably it is connected somehow with huns. Do you know what is it? I knew it only here. Earlier I got up not earlier than 8 in the morning, sometimes much later. There are some practices which began in 4 in the morning, and I really got up 8 days in a row and went on all practices. That is possible. And before I thought that I will not have a good day if I will not sleep 10 hours. The schedule is unusual, but I like it very much. It's pleasant, because yes, it is, fine. Also, we get up early, we bath, we do Shat Karma, we practice yoga, we read, we look, we listen. sing mantra, and we go to bed early. And there is one thing. It's great that a lot of people practices the same in the one orientation. There is less laziness magnification in principle. You know why you are here, you get up, you spread a rug, and you start practice. I realized that asceticism is a thing that allows you really make some change in yourself. So when I was in practice, I often spared myself. Oh, it hurts, my back hurts, and something hurts, feeling usually sorry about myself. I began to treat my body as a tool of gaining some experience. That is, the separation of I and the body now quite naturally say, I have a nil body, I am not sick. Life becomes much easier. It turned out that my well-fed and happy life was a presentation in the sense of my future life. I was scared that everything I do will be in vain, I will lose it. From that moment I began to think, I began to read, I began to look, and life has changed very much. It seems to me that awareness has come, that your ever action affects your subsequent actions of the life, so the only thing I came at the moment is that you have to start with yourself, because all the reasons in me, and the world is just decoration and reflect my inner state. I began to change, parents began to change, friends began to change. I always wondered why people can't sit down in silence during an hour. A human has life. A man is 70 years old and he can't devote an hour to think about his life. He begins an emotional breakdown. Apparently there are problems, and yoga provides the opportunity to solve them. I realized that yoga is a pivot around which I build my life. I tried after a trip to the yoga camp to take it for a basis. But now it's probably as a way of life, because so much has changed in my life. And now yoga was the brick, which is not enough for a full happiness. Everything has changed. Firstly, my mind has changed, my life, my mission in life. If I may say so, that is more global look at all the things. A broader view of reality, a clearly mind, you perceive events differently. Can they now just ordinarily or respond as before? Would you react and behavior? And if some of patients are trying to catch you, you have to walk with them. Or at least they realize. So now I realize life is a walk on oneself. It's continuous, never ends. So I get up in the morning. Everyone you meet isn't your friend and it is not your enemy. He is just your teacher. That is, you definitely learn things, always get better at something. The question is now to strengthen your good qualities and don't let bad ones come into your life. Actually, I realized that our mind is very cunning, always comes up with some tricks, and you with yourself seem to be white. In fact, motivation appears to be more selfish, so you imagine problem in one way, and then you begin to understand everything is completely different. Last year, I didn't have some strong motivation, some great desire. I know I need to move on the path of spiritual development and extend tools that I had, and I tried to bring them to life. But this year, when I really went into retreat, I was able to walk out myself and get a feeling for why this is necessary. I am not just logically realized that we are in the world all quite closely related, and there are some pretty close relationship with the people that surround us. But we bear some responsibility, because we are able to help them. The main thing And I have learned that such yogic practice, like asana, pranayama, it is not so important. The most important is that the human motivation, what he does for. Until one has brought up the motivation of love and care, everything else doesn't matter and can be a great yogi, but he will not be an important part of society. This is the main lesson that I've learned, and then decided to change the approach to the practice, the approach to what I'm going to say people, and walk a little in another way. Development of altruistic qualities in myself in the first place. So how good would you think about yourself is not enough. And when you find yourself 1 hour with you and you understand how many your selfish motives do you still have, so much are you still tired with your interests and desires, and how you do think of some benefits, you really want to fix it, because when you understand the value of this abstinence, you understand what is meaning of your life. Some missing components of my philosophy and my way is expectedly added, and basically it's interesting synergy of Buddhism and yoga, and most specifically the compassion and the work for the benefit of all beings, not only for the sake of the practice, their development. Everyone suffers, but in its own way. As all paths are different, everyone has their own sufferings. It is clear that it is difficult to help each person individually. In the global sense, it is necessary to understand what the cause is of suffering. Then the person can get rid of suffering. I always catch myself thinking, why do I live here? So there is a probably good reason to live in the right way, and therefore, if I live to serve others, then what is the point of standing in the place and something to fear and something don't do that someone will be better? So if the real aim is to help all and to serve, then you need to take and do. As Andrei Verba says, the path of yoga teacher is the most appropriate and without consciousness. I think it is really the best way to help themselves and other people. I was very lucky that I worked closely with friends of yoga teacher, and they shared their experience, shared with us. After that, I want to embark on the same path and don't go out from it ever. I see that these people are firstly friendly. They have no direct selfish aim. They don't want to get escort money from you, and they are not trying to show how cool they are as the teachers. The activities they are done here are made to help people. In terms of payment, the same majority eat voluntarily, so if a person feels that he can replay, he can replay. They give him qualified knowledge. I see these guys who are teachers here, and I love to be able to go in the same way, just to help others to open up, relax, without patience to lead their life. If I can really help, it would be great. If I had no example, I couldn't go anyway. That's why when you are moving in a particular set, you do yoga on the planet, and moreover you know that it is not far. In the nearby town, people of yoga live in conscious life, and you respectively are connected to the same set. You constantly know where to go. We all are in the search of ourselves in the one way and another. It is expressed different. There are plenty of opportunities to prove ourselves, to dig deeper, because everything is provided here. You can eat classic vegetarian food, wonderful spring water, which has a certain vibration. Then the places of power, dolmens, it's great that I met, that all it is in one place. I'm happy, grateful. to return to ourselves and to learn something about myself. Being in a place where the person close naturally to nature. So, asphalt is unnatural, hot water is unnatural, and here you are in the wild, and you overestimate the value, and actually you understand that people have a few time to live and to be happy. The most basic and simple thing that everyone can here and now share the information to inspire other people, our relative friends, just people around, for doing something better. People can differently treat the opportunities which will appear after the yoga camp, and they certainly will appear for all of them, no matter did they greet big efforts or small. The grain is planted here, in the yoga camp, and they will still germinate, and the seeds that they were trying to build up and to plant, they will still germinate, maybe later, not immediately, maybe a little more time will pass, but the fact is that it will happen, and the world will be on few more people which will bring the light.